Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. We have the Mr. Olympia contest coming up, and right here from Tennessee we have Nathan Asha the Prophecy and his coach Matt Jansen, who are training hard down there for the show. First of all, welcome guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks for having us.
Did you already train today? Did you just finish workout, or is that coming up still?
No, we train every day around 5 o'clock, so we wake up every morning, go do cardio. Every morning we either alternate training calves or abs after, and then we'll have 3 meals, and then we go train.
All right, sounds solid. All right, so let's get a little bit of history. Matt, when did you first become aware of Nathan as a pro? Was it from his very first pro show in England, or did it take a little while for you to notice this guy?
No, I actually, I'm a huge fan of the sport and follower. Regardless if I coach guys or not, like I've just always been a part of who I've been, and I noticed Nathan right away when he won his card.
Wow.
That was when I first saw him, and then I saw that he was going to Kuwait. Shortly thereafter, we talked a little bit, and then we met for the first time at the Toronto Pro in 2016.
Okay.
Had some fun together that weekend. We trained. We went to breakfast after the show, and then we've developed a friendship and a relationship ever since.
Nathan, did you know who Matt was before you met him?
Yeah, bro. Basically, like, I followed the sport. I knew he was working with Dallas. I knew he spoke to Justin and stuff, and I'd seen pieces of him on the internet. So I was just following him and seeing what he was about, because he's a young guy like myself and just getting into it. And it's good to watch people up and coming, It's also good to watch the old guys, but it's time for the new guys to get a chance. And I'm just following, because everyone's got different techniques and different stuff. So I was just following Matt's procedure and seeing what he was doing with Dallas and them guys.
Okay. So how did you end up actually working together? Because you were obviously over in Kuwait for a couple of years, like 3 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
Being trained and coached over there. So how did you end up working with Matt finally for this show, and when did it all really start?
The Kuwait story's old, really, so everyone knows that. So not what we going over that situation.
Right.
Just the time to leave and stuff.
Yeah.
And then wanted to train with Matt. Originally, we were going to train me, Matt, Dallas, and Justin were going to train together. And obviously, Dad passed away. Justin took sick, and just came myself. And then the space freed up. I was looking to open my own gym. Said to Matt, what's Arsenal like? Any chance I can come over, basically? And then we just started from there, and then things just started going from there and working together and then picking up from that.
Right. So Matt, I know you have a very critical eye, as any good coach would. So when from the first time you saw Nathan, and as you followed him throughout his career over the next couple of years, what did you see in his physique as a coach where you were thinking, I would want a little more of this, a little more, less of that? I mean, when you broke down his physique, what were you thinking? What was your analysis?
Initially, I thought his legs needed to come up front to back. I've always thought he's had really good shape to his quads, but just overall mass to the quads I thought needed to be improved. Same with the hamstrings. And then, just his back development overall. His shape from the front is incredible. Arms are incredible. His chest, I think he's got, in my opinion, he has the best chest in the pros right now, in a lot of his shots. But so that was, some of the things that we noticed, and Nathan, a part of our becoming friends, and we talked about soccer, and it wasn't all bodybuilding. Actually, it was very little bodybuilding to start. We just developed a friendship, But the more and closer we got together, when he was able to get progress pictures of himself, he would send them to me and ask for my feedback. And, I would give him some exercises that I thought he should keep in a rotation. And that's kind of part of our relationship and how it started too. It was just, him and I talking back and forth, him and I laughing, cutting up, talking about sports. But from a physique standpoint, the biggest things that it's still the focal point now, but it's legs and back. One of the things I was talking about it this morning, but I'm so excited, to see the changes just from the spring shows to now that he's made. It's drastic improvements that he's made to his physique and his back. And actually, when he, since his fall shows, he took about a week off, and then he got back to training. And since that point, We've split legs into two sessions. He was doing this back in the UK at home in Liverpool, and then back into 2 sessions. So it's not that we're trying to basically double up on everything. It's more so that we're trying to get the most out of each workout. So rather than doing all pulling and rowing in one workout, we're splitting it up to maximize each. Same thing with legs. We're splitting up quads and hamstrings to maximize each workout. Because I find, especially the way we train, if we try to train quads and then we finish quads and go right into hamstrings, something's always has to give. So that's how we're approaching things now. But literally the first day that we trained together back in Tennessee this year, when he got back here, he took off his top, and I was like, man, like I said, we literally don't need to change a thing with the training split. Everything's really clicking. Everything's working well. The depth in his upper back and his lats has improved dramatically. Legs are the biggest they've ever been. So I'm really excited, for us to get up there and stand with the best and see where we fall.
Nathan, I mean, you see it must be a little tougher for you to gauge your progress because you see yourself in the mirror every day. But what have you been noticing, and what do you attribute it to? What training changes have really helped you out?
I split back into basically two days, and I know I needed a lot more width and a lot more thickness. So when Matt told me just start doing more deadlifts, more single arm rowing. So on like a Monday back home, I just put everything I had into 4 exercises. So normally I do 6 or 7 on back, and I was physically gassed comes like exercise 5. But now I was doing 4 exercises, and maxing out on rack pulls or deadlifts, straight into T-bar rowing, then to single arm rowing, and then some type of close grip pull down. Yeah. To just get the back thickness, and I believe it's worked. Like Matt said, I showed a lot of improvements since the spring shows. A lot more detail. Jay Cutler told me, myself and Matt and the other guys there, we don't need a lot more mass. We just need that finer detail, and the size will come. Don't chase the scale. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. And right now I'm doing that. Scale's not really an issue at the moment. I'm probably the heaviest I've ever been at this point in prep. I believe the situation I'm in now, we're just over 4 weeks out. I believe I could be ready in 13, 14 days. Wow. If I wanted to be. Still holding around 260. So, I'm basically 15 pound heavier than my last show. Wow. And probably in a lot better condition already. So, people have seen a few pictures, and that's all. I'm not letting too much leak right now, but I'm trying to basically surprise everyone. Yeah. And also with my legs, this time around, my legs aren't losing. They're not the maturest legs in the sport, and I honestly said it myself, but the size is there. There's getting a lot of size. The maturity's coming, and I'm not losing my legs. So we're basically just doing what we're doing and just focusing on the main issues. Like Matt said, I believe I can stand with anyone on the front poses. I don't believe anyone can beat me on that front double bicep, even though a lot of people say oh, your lats are high, but I believe that's a nice feature, and even on a front lat spread, I believe that's my shot as well. It's just from the back that we need to be working on, and as everyone's seen in 4 weeks, the hamstrings have come up and the backs come up, so that's what they can say then.
And Matt, it seems to me, I saw some training clips of him years ago in Kuwait, and I've been trying to follow along on the social media what clips there are. You can tell us later where they can find more footage of it, because I think on your site there's more of it. But just on the Instagram, it seems like you guys do a lot more free weight, a lot more heavy basic compound movements than what he had been doing. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, we do a lot more free weights back here. Matt believes in the basics. And basics is basically what gives that thickness and that detail. Really, in Kuwait, it's a lot more machinized. They believe everything can be done on a machine. To a certain point, it can be, but right now, I don't believe it can be. And I just like moving the bar, because back home we don't have the machine that I have in Kuwait. So I'm used to moving that bar like Matt said, from A to B, and that's what Matt teaches, and that's what he implements. Yeah.
Matt,
it's nothing, in my opinion, and not just from a There's many ways to grow. There's many ways to skin a cat. But in terms of just true all-out effort, nothing replaces a barbell squat and a deadlift to me. The feeling that you have during the lift, the feeling that you have after the lift. You can do anything else in the gym, and nothing's going to replicate that feeling. Now, obviously, a feeling doesn't always indicate tissue. I'm not saying that it does, but when you have the right technique and your mechanics are correct, that has a ton of carryover. And two, something else that I think is advantageous to us is we train in a gym that has no AC, so it's not only are we banging out compound lifts, but we're training in an atmosphere that it's hot. The heat in there is hot. Nathan's physique is it's literally, you just watch it drying out day to day simply because of the temperature change,
Yeah.
And as his body gets acclimated to it, he's able to have more energy output in the gym as well, versus the first few days that he was here, it was really just sucking him in, like energy just sucking him. So, I think other champions of the past, Phil talks about his atmosphere. Ronnie, obviously, we know what went on there with Metroflex.
Yeah.
And I think there's advantages to not being in a comfort environment 24/7, being in AC 24/7, sitting on machines where you're not utilizing your own, mechanics and body weight through movements.
How hot is it in that place, you think?
Hot as hell. It's hot as hell, man. It's fucking hot.
I would say most days when we train, it's around 90 degrees in there.
Okay. Any fans, I hope?
There's one fan. It's 10,000 square feet. But we're not complaining. We're thankful and appreciative. I'm saying this as I think it's an advantage for us.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it would be rather uncomfortable. From just trying to get a good workout in when you're trying to deal with that kind of heat, and I imagine the humidity is disgusting too.
The first session's uncomfortable, but you can see it, your lungs getting better. You feel a lot healthier because I'm to breathe more. I found it a lot better,
Yeah. Now, Matt, did Nathan come to you with any training habits or nutrition habits that you had to sort of break in the first month or two you were working with him?
Honestly, Nathan, like Dallas, they have a lot of similarities when it comes to being willing and accepting to learn. And I just gave credit where it was due yesterday to Nathan. I told him, I said that the few tweaks that we needed to change in the spring that we changed and he implemented right away. He then went back to the UK and came back and improved upon those tweaks even further. There was no regression in his form. Everything I've asked of him in the gym, he's done and exceeded, in terms of rep execution. He picked up so quick, and so fast to just a few minor things. Nathan, he grew up lifting barbells and dumbbells. He didn't grow up in fancy gyms, but it was just a few little things. For example, because his arms are so dominant, we've put a twist to his barbell or his dumbbell rowing where he's actually tilting the dumbbell forward to keep if you're doing a neutral grip dumbbell row, to keep his bicep out of the movement. So that way it's all just elbow drive versus if you're pulling the bicep, if you're pulling the dumbbell back in with your bicep, his bicep is just apt to take over because it's such a strength for him. So just, very minor things like that, a little bit more depth on the leg press. The depth on his squats is phenomenal. So he's been so willing and accepting and has a teach me attitude, which I very much appreciate.
Cool. Now, you refer to where you are as being down on the farm. Are you just joking, or do you live on an actual farm, Matt?
No, we don't. We just kind of took that and ran with it. So during the New York Pro and when the guys were having the banner back and forth, Justin Rodriguez started calling us the Farm Boys. So we just took it and ran with it ever since. We don't live on a farm. The South, the culture down here is different. It's slower paced. I think overall people are just nicer down here, but we don't live on a farm. We're just having fun with saying that.
Nathan, what's it like for you? It's got to be very, very different from Liverpool and Kuwait City.
It's a lot different, man. Like Matt said, the people in the South are a lot nicer, I've been in a lot of places in the US, and some places aren't for me. It's very fast paced, and some people are quite abrupt, and where I live in Liverpool, it's the same, it's slow pace, and that's what I'm used to, people who live at a fast pace. just watching their life just go past, you know. And I'm like a dawdler. When I walk, I dawdle slow. I'm just a slow person, and that's how I like it. And you know, it's a great atmosphere here. It's good. People are good. The food's good, and you know, I'm thankful for Matt having me here and Jordan. You know, and I appreciate that. And it's a lot different than Kuwait because you know people here are, you know, taking me out places and talking my language and just involving me more within a more of a family atmosphere. To where, you know, I'm not just training, eating food here and going back to my apartment. You know, and I'm doing things and going out and going. I'm just getting to see a lot of the South. You know, and I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you do when you're not training and eating? Because in Kuwait, you went back to your jail cell, basically. It's a fancy jail cell. I shouldn't call it a jail cell. That's rude. But you know what I mean.
You know, we go shopping. We go to the mall. We go to Brad's house, our other training partners' house. We go to Andrew's house, who owns Arsenal. We chill there and relax, you know. And our friend Nick, we go there and just do normal everyday things, you know. And that's what it's about. Even though we're into bodybuilding, just, you know, bodybuilding's in the gym. That's it. And the rest of it's just life. I don't want to be sucked into living and breathing bodybuilding 24 hours a day because it's fucking bullshit. It's boring. You know what I mean? I'll eat my meals, and you know I want to do other things. Just because I'm a bodybuilder and we're prepping for the biggest show in the world, it doesn't mean I have to be a fucking hermit and don't do nothing and hide away in the camera and you can't see me, you can't do this. Yeah. You know, I'm just enjoying life while I have it. You know, and I'm grateful for everything I have. So I'm living it to the fullest out here with Matt and his family.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to so many guys at your level, and they won't even leave, except to go to the gym. They won't leave their house for like the last 6 or 8 weeks. So, well, I got to have my meals. I'm thinking
miserable bastards, miserable bastards. That's what they are. You know what I mean? And then, you know, if I was them, I'd be miserable too because they're basically stuck in the house, you know, doing nothing, crying to the wife, doing this, and they do this to themselves. And then you've got some fucker like me who should come in, living life, doing as I please, and then I come in and just kick their ass, you know. So I'd be miserable too. But maybe if they lived life a bit more, you know, they wouldn't get beat just as much.
Yeah. Now, Matt, I know you were training with Dallas every set, rep for rep, and all that. Do you also train with Nathan, or you just oversee the workouts?
Oh no, we train together. We have a blast. You know, and I find it's my goal in the gym is to kind of be that pace car for him. Whereas, you know, I can't hang with him weight-wise, you know, but effort, you know, the amount of effort applied to a set, I try my best to get the best out of him just by the effort that I'm putting into the workouts. We have so much fun in the gym, you know, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. He is the most positive, fun person to be around during a contest prep. Up to this point, we've still not had a bad day. He's not snapped once. He doesn't have this woe is me, I'm 4 weeks out, I got to train light. Like, there's none of that, ever. And I mean that, you know, like, we just go in, we have fun, we give our best effort, and then we go home and we relax. You know, you ask what we do. Like, I grew up a soccer fan. Nathan obviously played professional soccer. You know, we watch soccer during the day because the English Premier League is on ahead of our time. So we watch that during the day. I've been trying to teach Nathan as much as I can about American sports that he hasn't grown up watching. You know, so that's been fun too. Like we're huge sports fans, but we come from two completely different cultures, so we've been able to teach each other about the other's culture in that, you know, in that sense.
We train different in the South, bro, compared to the West. You know what I mean? In the West, it's just fucking half reps, pussy reps, and your training partner going crazy, psycho, just pulling away from you. You know, it's different here. If you want a good session, come down the South.
So, where are you saying the West is where they train like pussies?
Yeah, man.
Like California West?
Pussies there, brother.
Okay, just want to make sure we're. I didn't know if you meant like the whole western part of the world or just the Western U.S. or.
Oh, the Western U.S.
Can I clarify who we're talking crap about? Now, Matt, you just did the USA a couple weeks back.
Yes.
Was it a challenge for you to, you know, focus on Nathan and all your other clients when you're dieting down the striated glutes and on low carbs and all that?
No, honestly, I actually enjoy it. I feel like that I'm more efficient during prep because I have to be. You know, when energy isn't there all day long, you have to make very fine use of your time. And also too, like, these guys motivate me because I'm not on their level, but I do want to find some way to not only carry my own weight, but also motivate them, you know? So it's a give and take in that regard. Like, Nathan's condition that he had, and the way that he trained and the way that he conducted himself as a professional, like, I strive to do that during my own prep. And I didn't meet it at all times. Like, there's times where I have hard days and I'm not the funnest person to be around, or I just get really quiet, and I admit that about myself. So I tried to use the example that Nathan gave when he was here. Ian, I work with Ian. He's the same way. He's very outgoing during prep, very appreciative, thankful to be a professional bodybuilder. So I try to use these guys as an example for me as well, even though they're coming to me for help. It's a very mutual thing. Like, I respect them so much and the level that they're at, and I feel like my job is just to use my passion and my eye just to help them as much as I can. It's very much a team thing. It's not like me dictating them, or it's just kind of how I like to work.
Nathan, have you ever had a coach that was right there in the gym with you every day, set for set, rep for rep?
No, before I was in Kuwait, I've trained by myself, I coach myself, like I said to Matt and many people before, I believe the best coach for yourself is you, at an amateur level. And if you're not at that top amateur level, just learn your own body, and then you can portray it back to a coach later on in life. And, while I was in Kuwait, I had a coach with Asha, but he never trained. He'd just come to the gym and tell us to this and tell us to do that. It's, even though it was a good push, and I appreciated it, and it was good at the time. Sometimes you want someone to come with you and just kick up the arse, and when that person's pushing themselves, you have to push yourself. And I'm lucky to have Matt because he's strong as hell, and he gives it 100%. But back home, I train with two younger guys, Mark and Jack. They're nowhere near as strong as Matt, but them again, they push themselves to the limit, and just seeing people pushing themselves makes me want to push myself, regardless of what's on the bar and what isn't. It's just that person giving their all. That's all you need. I believe anyway, and that motivates me 100%.
So, Matt, when you're, I know a lot of coaches only oversee nutrition and supplementation for their athletes. It seems like you like to have a handle on everything, the training, the nutrition, everything. Do you believe it's important, or is that the best way to coach someone or get someone ready for a contest, is to make sure every aspect is handled like that?
Yeah.
Not just the diet?
It's crazy to me how, I don't know when this started, because I don't think it was always this way, but it's like bodybuilding coaches now are somebody that just sends a diet and that's the extent of their coaching, versus for me, it's like if you don't know what's going on in the gym, you're missing a huge part of the equation. Yeah. Not only in terms of energy output and calorie burn and those types of factors to apply to the diet, but also in terms of how is this person responding to training? Are they growing? Are they progressing? Are they not progressing? I think all those things matter. And not only that too, but to make sure that they're training properly from an execution standpoint and also an effort standpoint. For like with Nathan, if he was at home and he was training sets of 8 shy of failure on every set, versus if he's training like he is here to the max, his diet is going to be reflective of that. It's going to be different, and if so many coaches don't know that about their athletes, they're like, oh, just go in and get a pump, do 4 exercises, do 4 sets of 15. Well, what do those 4 sets of 15 look like? What's the application of those 4 sets of 15? I love training, and that's part of, I wouldn't bodybuild if it wasn't for the training aspect. So how that's gotten lost somewhere in the shuffle along the way, I don't really know. But to me, it's like if you're not paying attention to the training, then you're missing a massive part of what makes bodybuilders successful.
Do you prefer that if they can't train with you every day, your clients, that they at least send you clips or something so you can see what you're doing?
So obviously I don't train with every athlete that I work with every day. I mean, so part of my weekly check-in process is that they send me videos, so I can give them feedback. Yeah. And then also too, like I kind of try to dumb training down as best as I can, because I think things are way too overcomplicated. But I mean, in the simplest form, when Nathan and I go into the gym, we work up to 1 to 2 max sets per movement where we can't maintain our form, or we're losing our form, or we can't complete another rep, and then we move on, and we do that for 4 to 5 exercises, and we're done. So me saying it like that, it's very simple, but the actual application and effort applied to that, that's what matters.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think Meadows we talked about this when I interviewed him, was you can give someone a workout, but you don't know how they're executing the movements. You don't know if they're doing things the way they're supposed to be doing. So just giving someone a workout to follow, it's really not doing a whole lot for them.
Right.
As far as the weights, you guys are still training very, very heavy.
Yeah.
I think I just saw Nathan squatting 6 plates for 5 reps. That's
Yeah,
the other
that was
day.
Monday.
So
I should have went heavier really, but it was basically, I haven't squatted since I tore my shoulder. Over 6 weeks ago, and the rotation to get a squat bar it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I've been using a safety bar squat, so it's a lot different. We don't have a safety bar squat here right now, so I thought, shoulder felt good. Thought we'd get under it, and 6 plates felt good, and it was good. It was good enough for me so far out, but I believe I could have got more, and just hopefully, next week when we do squats or the week after, I can get that 7 plates for 5 again,
So I mean, that's super, super heavy. This close to a contest. Is this the heaviest you've ever trained? This close to a contest, Nathan?
No. When I was in Kuwait, I was training with a guy called Chemo, and when Ascot wasn't there, Chemo would let me squat. I just love squatting, and I love bench pressing, and that's not something that's looked upon in Kuwait because you can tear things, but I'm not looking to have the facilities of these so-called high-end machines back home. So I have to do the basics, and if you're squatting right and you know the weight, you're good, and you're benching right, you're good to go. And I just like that stuff, and that's what I grew up on. I grew up in a bombshell of a gym, and that's just how we do things. But I'm believing getting stronger as we speak now, and going into a show, I get a lot stronger. Like a lot of people are seeing 2 weeks out from New York, I was front squatting 5 plates. I just love squatting, and I'm just happy to train and to get to do this every day as a living, as a job. You can't go wrong. And also, when I compete with likes of guys like Akeem, he can squat 7 plates off season when he's full as hell. I want to be able to squat. I can squat 7 plates prep. So I want to be looked upon as a strong bodybuilder at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Matt,
we obviously understand that there's a risk factor involved, but we're driven by pushing our bodies. That's why we go into the gym and train. We don't go in just to get by. Again, something that him and Dallas had in common. They want to go into the gym and they want to push, and I love that. That's my mentality. Is there a greater risk? Well, we push within you don't see the amount of warm-up sets we do. I'm a stickler on technique, and I think that makes a big difference as well. So we're not haphazardly going into these sets. Like, for example, before he squatted 6 plates this past week, we probably did 10 sets of leg extensions, and then he did maybe 7 sets of squats leading into that set. So he's ready. If you want to look at total work volume, he's ready 17 sets of volume into a workout before he touches that weight. So it's not like we're just, haphazardly jumping into something. Like, his body is acclimated to the load in order to be able to utilize it.
Do you believe that it's critical to keep the resistance really heavy, to keep a certain look to the muscle, a certain density that might get lost?
Yeah, I mean, the density that he has at this stage versus what he had just simply out of New York, I mean, it's night and day difference. And that's not to say that he wasn't in a good spot in New York. He had a great look for both of those shows, but it's like, if you continue to replicate that pattern over and over, and you continue to push your body, because right now he is in a calorie deficit. Right now he is in a spot where his body is burning tissue, whether that's fat tissue, muscle tissue. If you force your body to stay in an environment where that tissue has to be there to do a job, it's not going to want to leave. If you're staying 3 to 4 to 5 reps shy of failure, your body's going to be like, I don't really need that tissue. We're not using it anyway. And that's when the look, I think, really starts to change, and you're not losing as much fat as you are muscle at that point.
Tell me a little bit about Arsenal Strength. You refer to it as a showroom in your posts. Does that mean it's not a commercial gym open to the public? It's just like a private little place for a few guys?
Yeah, it's a private showroom for they are an equipment manufacturer, and they sell equipment. So I'm sorry, they sell equipment. They have a manufacturer. It's not in the same facility.
Okay.
And they were, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate to be associated with them. Andrew and Jamie Hall are the owners of that company, and they saw me in 2015. 2014. We started our friendship, and they just believed in me as a coach early on and welcomed me. They wanted me to move to Tennessee. My wife and I, we were currently in Kentucky at that time, and they basically just gave me the showroom to use as my own for the athletes. So outside of the employees of Arsenal, a select few other people that are invited here and there, and then my athletes, that's all that trains in there. So on a daily basis, there's 4 to 5 of us in that gym a day, and that's it.
So you don't have to wait for a squat rack.
Never.
I don't think you wait for anyone, anybody, do you? No matter where you go.
That's true. Nathan, the place you're opening up in Liverpool, that's going to be an Arsenal Strength?
Yeah, fully equipped Arsenal Strength for our gym, and for people who want to purchase Arsenal Strength around Europe, in the UK, they can come to my gym and see everything, every time Arsenal have in the machine. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have it in my gym. So I'm lucky enough to have that benefit, and that way then I can implement the same training what Matt implements over here. I can do it myself, Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the really important stuff now. What is your obsession with ChickfilA, guys?
All right, so real quick on the ChickfilA story.
Yeah.
I got sick twice. I had the flu twice this past winter, and I was just trying to, at that point I was in my off season. I was trying to keep my weight up. I wasn't eating throughout the day. So once the flu started to pass and I was trying to get my weight back up, my wife asked if she could get me anything, and I said, just get me some Chick-fil-A sandwiches, just a regular fried sandwich. So she ended up getting me, I was eating like 4 a day for 2 days, and then I got sick again and I ate 4 a day. But what I noticed from that is I had no negative feedback in terms of digestion or bloating or gas or anything like that. Like, I just digested them really well. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep this up during my prep. Nathan, obviously, when he was in Kuwait, he refed off of burgers. I wouldn't say Knoxville is like the best burger town. Plus, I wanted to kind of give him some Southern culture, and Chick-fil-A started in the South. So I thought it would be fun. Like, Chris Aceto has the muffins.
Yes.
And we just kind of coined the Chick-fil-A thing and ran with it because it works and it tastes great. The sodium content isn't crazy, so we don't get like a massive weight influx from water. Digestion stays consistent. And honestly, the quality of their food, the way they treat you when you go in, like it's just a lot of fun, So when and if a refeed is needed, and now, for example, Nathan's been here 3 weeks. He's eaten Chick-fil-A once. We're not eating it every day.
Oh.
Some people might think we are, especially on Instagram, but it's something fun and it's something that we can attach ourselves to, and that's it.
Nathan, are you a big Chick-fil-A fan now?
Yeah, man, I love it. The sauce is awesome and the fries are great, It was Matt's wife, Jordan, that said, get a Chick-fil-A. Originally I wanted like just a beef burger, like a Five Guys, and she's like, no, Chick-fil-A. And I seen Matt get us some burgers and thought, they taste good, And then the next day she went, try one. So I tried one, and since then I haven't looked back, And I even on the off season for my birthday, Matt and Jordan sent me some Chick-fil-A cookies over. I think it was like 2 dozen. They were gone in like 2 days.
Because the Camp Jansen shirt I made, Matt, the logo looks remarkably like the Chick-fil-A logo.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the movie. Nathan, you're making a movie called Road to the Olympia, Chasing the Gift. Tell me about how that came about, what's going to be in it, when it's going to be out, where people can get a hold of it, all that good stuff.
Well, basically, you say Matt just done a show and he went to Jay's house, and Jay's a big influence on Matt, throughout his career, one of Matt's idols, I'd say. Yeah. And Matt said, why don't we do an old school DVD, like Jay Cutler and stuff like that. And like, people still interested in that with social media. He's like, well, no one's doing it, so why wouldn't he be, And it gives people the insights basically of my life day to day and living in Matt's, you know, see me on my phone talking to my kids, what we eat day to day, the process of me and seeing my family come to the Olympia, and then even, my man said after the Olympia, wherever I place, may that be last, may that be first, and that's it. That's it. When Matt said, it would be good for your kids to look at later on in life that their dad's done his own movie and everything else, and people will always be able to buy it and look at it and remember who you are when you're gone later on in life. So I looked at it and I thought it'd be a good idea. We have an awesome camera guy out here called Nick. The guy's phenomenal. He knocks things up in seconds, and the quality of his work is awesome. So I said, why not just go for it, And Matt came up with the name Chasing the Gift because, end of the day, Chasing the Gift because I want to be number one, in the Olympia. I believe I can be number one. Obviously, may not be this year, but, next year I believe I'll be down his throat. I'll be there. I'll be second or third. This year I hope to be third, fourth at the least. But that's the whole aim, to chase the gift. And whether people think it's arrogant or obnoxious, it's not, because I want to be number one, and he's number one now. So So basically, I'm chasing the gift. If Rami was number one, it'd be called Chasing Rami. So Phil's where it's at right now, and the movie will be downloaded in 2 parts. You'll be able to purchase it from Matt's website, from my website, and hopefully, we'll be doing it on Amazon. And then basically purchase the first part, and then the second part will come out literally the day after the Olympia. You'll see, how I feel after the Olympia, with my family and with Matt and Joe and the team around me, and, my expression, and even some backstage footage of the photo shoots, and hopefully we can get a backstage past the Olympia and people can see what goes on backstage. It's just an basically old school type movie. We'd all done in black and white, so you can see my perfect white teeth. And then that's it, And I just hope people like it. Having a lot of fun doing it. You'll see me talk a little bit of shit, and you'll see me even fail my own reps, and just sometimes you could even see me upset from the results of the Olympia. And I believe that gives a true insight of everything, because what you see on social media is what people want you to see. But this movie is just no holds barred. You're going to see raw footage and some clips that probably shouldn't even be seen. But we're going to show everything and give a story of my life.
Yeah. So what are your websites? I'll give your IGs first. It's Matt Jansen 6 is Matt's
Matt Jansen. Yeah.
Oh, my printer sucks. Look at that. Yeah, you're right. It is an 8. Matt Jansen 8, and all Nathan to Asha. No spaces or anything. It's Nathan to Asha. So what are the websites?
Mine is camp-jansen.com.
Yeah. Camp-jansen.com.
I'm getting a new one done as we speak, so mine should be up in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
What's it going to be? What's the domain?
It'll be nathandeasha.com, but it'll be up in like 2 weeks. It's just getting remodified as we speak.
Okay. Just talk about Phil for a second, because he is the 7-time champion and looking for 8. Where do you guys see him as being vulnerable? Because nobody's 100% perfect. Everyone's got some little weakness or flaw that can be exploited. What's Phil's?
I believe his front poses. I believe, no matter what, he can't. That midsection cannot come down in a year. We had 4 years ago. He was the most streamlined athlete there was. Whether he tried to play for size, I don't know. But a few years ago he couldn't be beaten. I believe he's let his midsection go. People say it's just a hernia, but it's got a lot wider. The sweep in his legs still aren't there, and I believe he's vulnerable from the front and from a couple of the side shots. From the back, fucking hell, he takes the world, doesn't he? It's just you got to give it to the guy. From the back he just killed everyone, but end of the day, it's bodybuilding. It's overall package, and I believe if you can beat from the front, it could be close.
Yeah. Matt, what do you see as Phil being vulnerable? Where can people get him?
I think first and foremost, just to give credit where it's due, he's been an excellent Olympia champion. I think he's due every Olympia that he's won up to this point. And Nathan and I respect him for that. Even in what we're doing with this movie and how we're training, it's the respect that we have for the champion that makes us want to beat the champion. But like Nathan said, I think Nathan's strong shots. Nathan can stand with anybody from the front. You know, his waist is wasp-like tiny. The sweep on his quads are getting better. His lats are getting better. So it's only just going to create more of an illusion. You know, I think too. I'll talk about Nathan in compared to Phil's vulnerability. Nathan is about as stress-free as it gets. So even in the midst of this being his he's got more expectation on him this Olympia.
Right.
I think Phil has a lot of pressure on himself to get to 8 because that's such a milestone.
Right.
And then he's also got the pressure of everybody else, you know, that doesn't want to see him get to 8. So he's got a lot to kind of channel. And up to this point, he's done a very good job of channeling that. But that's always a factor, you know, how somebody handles stress, how somebody handles pressure. It's not really a part of Nathan's world, you know, and that's a benefit to us. Like we are stress free in this house, and I mean that when it comes to this prep. Like, and that's a first for me. I've prepped, you know, I started having Olympia athletes in 2015, and this is like I said, this is the most fun and the most stress free I've been. Now, obviously, I hold a certain standard for myself, and there's stress that I'm putting on myself. But I'm getting no excess stress from Nathan being here or living here or his expectations on me. You know, just the other day, he just trusts me. And, you know, he texted me in the house because I was in the other room, and he said, "I just want you to know how much I believe in you and the process that we have." You know, like, and that means a lot to me. You know, because I know he means it. He didn't have to send that text. I mean, we were in the house together. You know, but he felt enough to say that to me at that point. And he just doesn't stress about things. This whole sport, he doesn't stress about it. He just does the best he can, goes in the gym, trains as hard as he can, and then goes home and cuts up and has a good time. You know, I mean, that's how it is.
So, Nathan, you were in the West Wing. You were too lazy to get up and walk over to the East Wing to tell Matt in person. Okay.
I was actually on the toilet, if you want to be honest. But anyway.
Well, we bodybuilders spend a lot of time on the toilet. We know that. Okay, so final question is going to be a scenario. Let's say Nathan gets top 5 at the Olympia, which I don't think is a crazy thing to assume here. Qualifies for next year's Olympia, meaning he doesn't have to compete again for another year. If you guys had a full 9 months solid off season to work together after this Olympia, what do you think you could accomplish?
Pushes Phil 100%.
Yeah, basically. I believe, you know, realistic goal this year is top 5. So I can take the year off and basically just focus on my Olympia.
Yeah.
Although I've said many times I believe that Olympians should compete more often, I believe I need that year off just to get at Phil, you know, and from there being, and obviously I'd compete, you know, 2020 like on the Arnold or something, but next year, this year I got top five, I'd take next year off, and I believe I'd be top 2 next year, you know, and that's not being arrogant. I just believe that it's possible. Yeah. You know, whether people say that's just, you know, because Dexter's getting old and Sean's getting old. Well, I can't. Their variables are my control. You know, yeah. That's just how it is. That's how time works. And you know, right now behind me there's a few good guys, but I believe, you know, show that I can beat them, and I beat them before. So, you know, realistically, top 5. I would love top 4, to be totally honest. Top 4, top 3. You know, and that's just how it is. But then, if we're speaking in real time, if you know, Phil didn't get the 8 this year, and Rami was to get it, then I believe I'd take it next year. Because I don't believe, although Rami is my friend and he's cool, he's good, I don't believe that's where the direction of the sport's going in. With everything that's shown behind us, you know, and other champions, you know, I don't believe that's where the sport's going. I believe we're looking more better looking. If Rami did bring it in condition this year, I don't believe he can do it. I don't think he'll be able to keep up with it like Phil has. You know, and so I believe that it will for the taking. You know, with that being said, then, you know, you have guys like William who pushed them both to the limits. Yeah. And that just goes to show, like I said before on a post, you know, size does not win bodybuilding shows. You know, Dexter showed that many years. Now Bonac showed that, so it doesn't win it, you know. And whether these guys are pushing for size it does look, it looks more and more freaky, but does it match? Does your upper body match your lower body? Does it flow? Are you in condition? These are all variables that a lot of guys aren't taking into consideration right now. You know, it's just it's just a mass game. So I hope to be at that level next year, and you know, so be it. I believe with a year working with Matt, you know, I'll be there. Just these few short months I've had now, you guys will see the improvements that step on stage. You'll see a nicer looking Nathan than last year. You know, it'll be a lot fresher, be a lot bigger, and a lot harder. So, with the whole year taken out, I believe I'll be pushing next year for the top 2.
Matt, we'll give you the final word. What do you think you could do with this guy if you had that kind of time on your hands?
I mean, I think he could be. I 100% believe he can be a multiple Olympian champion, and I think he's going to be the next one to get multiple titles. I believe that 100%. I'll say that to anybody.
Bold statement, but you're standing by it. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, man. You know,
I think that's part of what makes us successful, though, is we actually really believe in each other, and we don't just say things, like we believe it, you know, it goes to show, like, the passion that we have in the gym, and I mean all the way through how we conduct our day. Like, it's a mutual belief and respect for each other.
Right on. Cool. Well, looking very much forward to seeing what you guys have in store for us 4 weeks from Friday night.
Yeah.
When Nathan gets on stage at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for taking some time out of your day down on the farm.
Thank you for your time. We got to get back to mowing the hay over here.
Feed those cattle, man. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody, for watching. It's been the Ronline Report with Nathan Asha and Matt Jansen. See you next time.
Thank you, buddy.